Let's talk to God. One more thing, like, subscribe, and share. Come on, let's talk to God. Woo!
Good evening, everybody. It looks like I'm traveling because I'm all over the place these days, right? I know you see a different background, so that means that just means that I'm on the move. But listen, that's okay. I'm on the move. We're on the move, so we're all doing our thing, and I'm excited because today we're already in the month of August. You all, it's August the 2nd, 2022. The summer is moving right along, and I guess we all are. But this is the Let's Talk to Cutler broadcast, and you all know I'm Cutler. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. We have some interesting topics an interesting topic that I want to discuss today, and I'll tell you why I want to talk about this topic in just a moment. But I want to remind people that if you're just tuning in, this station really is all about, this channel is about inspiration, it's about motivation, it is about learning from each day. How can I show up a little bit better tomorrow than I did today? Sometimes we have to challenge ourselves. Yes, we like the inspiration, we like the motivation, but it's about challenging ourselves to show up better. And sometimes showing up better means that I have to discipline myself, I have to bend myself, I have to restrict and restrain myself so that I show up better. It means that I learn the lesson, and the application of the lesson doesn't always feel good. How many of you all remember that just from school, just from life, period, that the application of the lesson does not always feel good? For example, sometimes our older relatives told us, watch your mouth. So that was the lesson. But the application of the lesson didn't always feel good because sometimes you were opinionated. You had something that you wanted to say. So the application of the lesson didn't always feel good. It required discipline. It required practice. It required rehearsal. It required putting into action the thing that you learned. And if we want to show it better, sometimes we have to go through those difficult disciplinary moments of putting into practice what we learn. Listen, I'll get to all that again in just a moment. So I want to shout out the LTTC VIPs for this evening. They're the Let's Talk to Cutler, very important people. Everybody's important, but I'd just like to shout out the 3 people who just jumped in the chat first. But do me a favor. Do me a favor, if you've heard this topic discussed, if you haven't heard it discussed, and you're just interested in knowing what Cutler has to say or how he's going to approach this topic, do me a favor, invite people to come on and Let's Talk to Cutler. I want to talk about the fact that Will Smith apologized to Chris Rock. I do. I want to talk about that specifically, and I want to ask us, when was the last time you apologized? When was the last time you apologized? Let me just shout out the LTC VIPs for this evening. There, Andy Cutler, who says, "Let's ride, get aboard." We are going to get aboard. We're going to ride, and we're going to talk about what it means to apologize. Linda Martin says, "Good evening, and I'm aboard." And the smiley face. So glad that you're aboard. And of course, our friend coming in third, Jet, says, "Good evening to everybody." Good evening to you, our friend. It's so good to see you. And I want to remind people that if you're passing by my station for the very first time, do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe. Please subscribe, and after you subscribe, click on the notification bell. It lets you know whenever I've uploaded new content and whenever I've gone live. And I will tell you this, people are saying to me recently, you forget to tell people about your books. I'm a Southerner. I start talking so much, and yes, sometimes I do forget to tell people about my books, but this is my most recent book, Billboards to Better. It's available over on Amazon.com, and then the one before that, When I'm Overwhelmed, How to Handle Life at Its Most Intense Moments, that one. And then there's 7 books out there, but I'm just going to highlight these 3. And then here is one, We Don't Always Get It Right the First Time. In this book, I think I may have written that stay away from people who don't apologize. All right. So I want to ask you, when was the last time you apologized? What I want to do this evening, I want to show you all a clip. Invite people, come on. Are you all sharing? Invite people to come on and Let's Talk to Cutler, because I want to talk about the fact that Will Smith apologize to Chris Rock. I'm going to play this clip. Can I do that? I'm going to play this clip for you. And then after I play the clip, I'll be right back for us to talk about this clip. Now, I want you all, it's only 4 minutes, and it's not an original clip. It is courtesy of Entertainment Tonight, ET Online. So it's not an original clip of mine, but it comes from Entertainment Tonight online. It's about a 4-minute clip. I'm going to share that. You all stick with me. And then I want us to peel back the layers, and I want us to break it down and talk about what it means. All right, so much for that. Let's go on. Cutler, show them the clip. How about I do this? Hang on, here it comes.
I can say to all of you, there is no part of me that thinks that was the right way to behave in that moment.
Will Smith breaks his silence months after that infamous Oscar slap. Now the actor has a direct message for fans and host Chris Rock explaining why he didn't apologize sooner.
It's all fuzzy. I've reached out to Chris, and the message that came back is that he's not ready to talk, and when he is, he will reach out. So I will say to you, Chris, I apologize to you. My behavior was unacceptable, and I'm here whenever you're ready to talk.
Many fans speculated it was Will's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, who encouraged him to react physically.
My deepest hope is that these two intelligent, capable men have an opportunity to heal, talk this out, and reconcile.
The slap stemmed from Chris's joke about Jada's shaved head, a hairstyle she rocks because she suffers from alopecia, a hair loss condition. But Will clears things up and says that's not the case.
After Jada rolled her eyes, did she tell you to do something? No. It's like, I made a choice on my own, from my own experiences, from my history with Chris. Jada had nothing to do with it. I'm sorry, babe.
And the apologies continue. Will addresses how his behavior brought heat to his own family.
It takes practice to have those difficult conversations.
But he's especially remorseful for how he impacted the Rock family.
I want to apologize to Chris's mother. I wasn't thinking, but how many people got hurt in that moment. I want to apologize to Chris's family, specifically Tony Rock. We had a great relationship.
But things went sour shortly after the Oscars. Tony posting on Twitter that he wasn't exactly a fan of Will's written apology. When a fan asked, "Do you approve of the apology?" Tony simply wrote no. We'll have to wait and see if the Rock family has anything to say about Will's latest apology. But in the meantime, Will, who won Best Actor that night for his role in King Richard, also apologized to his fellow nominees.
It's like I won because you voted for me, and it really breaks my heart to have stolen and tarnished your moment. I can still see Questlove's eyes. It happened on Questlove's award, and it's like I'm sorry really isn't sufficient.
After months of deep reflection, Will explains disappointing people is his central trauma. He says nothing hurt him more than letting his fans down.
It hurts me psychologically and emotionally to know I didn't live up to people's image and impression of me. I am deeply remorseful, and I'm trying to be remorseful without being ashamed of myself. Right? I'm human, and I made a mistake, and I'm trying not to think of myself as a piece of
Moving.
Well, so we saw that. And I'm just curious. I wanted to know if, from your perspective, you think that is an apology. So I really, really want to engage you guys in the chat this evening because I think that a part of growing, a part of learning is recognizing when you've made a mistake. You know, we talk about on this channel um, showing up better today than I did today. And in life, period, it means that I've learned the lesson that life presented to me. I learned it, not that I mastered it, but I got it. Um, so then, do you think that was an apology? The rumor mill is all a buzz, and I have to say that I'm certainly not here to lambaste um, or to crucify Will Smith, but I thought that this would be a teachable moment for us. Interestingly enough, I'm certainly not here to crucify him. I was traveling. I was in Australia some time ago, and I didn't have my glasses on, and there were some people there. I bear no resemblance to Will Smith, but there were some people who just walked up to me and thought that I was Will Smith. Go figure. We don't all look alike. But anyway, do you think that was an apology? Do you have issues with his apology? Do you think Chris Rock should accept that apology? How do you feel about that? And I only ask that question again because sometimes if we are going to show up better tomorrow than we did today, again, it means there has to be some application of the lesson, not just the lesson itself. So I ask you all, do you think he apologized? Did he apologize? I wish I could put up an opinion poll to see what you all are thinking. If you're catching this on the replay, please go back and put in the comments because I want to know, did he apologize? What is an apology? An apology, it's more than just saying, I'm sorry. So you can go back at some point and look at the clip. But an apology is more than just saying that I'm sorry. It's an admission of error. It means that you've admitted that you did something wrong. And not only is there an admission of error, but along with that admission of error, there has to be some expression of regret. I'm sorry. I'm regretful for what, Cutler? For having harmed somebody. So I admit wrong, but I also express remorse rather for having harmed somebody. Yes, I'm wrong and my wrong behavior hurt somebody. That's what an apology is. So when people say, I'm sorry, is that an apology? I had someone say to me, I'm sorry if I offended you. I'm sorry if I upset you. But what about the fact that you are sorry because you did offend me? You are sorry because your words were inappropriate. So let's acknowledge the bad behavior. This is what an apology is. An apology, we're looking for three things. So I'm always in teaching moment, and I hope this is helping somebody because a lot of times parents will say to your children, "Now go apologize." And all the kid sometimes says is, I'm sorry. But let's teach people how to apologize, you all. Let's teach our young folk how to apologize. So, because apology is about restoring relationship, it's about repairing the damage. Apology means that you have to admit that you were wrong. It means that you have to acknowledge that your actions hurt someone else. Did we see this in this clip? It also means that you take actions to repair the damage. Cutler, what does that mean? It means you want to know, how can I fix it? How can I restore it? How can I repair it? How can I make it right? That's what an apology consists of. And some of you may not necessarily have an opinion about this particular clip that I just showed, but I think sometimes we look at things and we say, oh, there's an apology, or it seems like there's an apology on the table. But I think our issue so many times is, was it sincere? Was it genuine? And I think what I've heard so much buzz about with regard to Will Smith and this apology to Chris Rock is, was it sincere? Because from my perspective, a sincere apology includes Oh, what is the word? It includes genuine empathy. A sincere, do you all agree with that? A sincere apology includes genuine empathy. And not just empathy, not just genuine empathy, but it also includes a promise to learn from your mistake. How many of us have heard people, and you may be one of them. I know I certainly have been one who says, "Okay, yeah, I don't believe that." Because what did we do? We made an assessment about the genuineness of the act or the action. Was it genuine? Did the promise seem to suggest that the person is learning from his or her mistake? I think that's why so many times we have issues, we have problems with these apologies. Sometimes we get tired of accepting people's. Have you ever gotten tired of accepting people's apologies because you find yourself saying to them over and over and over, "Yeah, but you keep doing the same thing. You keep apologizing, but you keep doing the same thing." And when is it going to stop? So I would encourage us, if we're going to teach our young people the art of relationship building and the art of conflict resolution, let's teach them what an apology looks like. Parents, stop telling your children when they go and apologize, make them say more than just "I'm sorry." An apology has to include more than just "I'm sorry." An apology has to include "I was wrong." Has to include "and my behavior hurt you." And then it has to include "how can I make it right? What can I do? How can I fix it?" That's what an apology is. Can I tell you, that's probably why we get offended by people when they just walk up to us sometimes and just say, "I'm sorry." That is why you can have a whole movement of people looking for reparations. Give me more than just lip service. Tell me more, do more than just say "I'm sorry." At least strive, show a good faith effort somehow to right the wrong. Can I tell you, those of you who may share the same faith that I have, that even when I believe I have offended the Creator, I admit that my behavior was wrong. I confess that my behavior probably offended the one who gives me life. I'm just sharing it. If you don't share my faith, that's fine. I'm just telling you from my perspective. That's what I do. I was wrong. I'm sorry I was wrong. And I realized that my bad behavior, my wrongness offended you. Please help me not to do this again. I want to walk in good faith and relationship with you. That's how can I fix it? How can I repair it? How can I make it right? I'm just telling you, even on a spiritual plane, a spiritual plateau. But what do you all think? I'm not hearing from you all. What do you all think about Will's apology? Are you having issue with the sincerity of it? Again, I'm not lambasting him at all. I just want to know what you think, because again, if we're going to grow, if we're going to build relationships, if we're going to resolve conflicts, we need to know how to apologize and what it means. So do you all think it was sincere? And if you're catching the replay, please let me know. And why would I pose that question? Because another element of apologizing, we've got to be clear. We've got to be clear. Thank you. I have one person. Amy Klein says, "I think he was sincere." All right. So you all let me know. I'm not here to cast aspersions. I'm not here to, to really stand in a place of condemnation or judgment at all. I thought this was a great teachable moment for us to see something, and then we can talk about what it looks like and make an assessment. One of the things that I do know is this, that forgiveness, and I've said this on this platform before, forgiveness is about you. It's about the individual. So sometimes we say, well, do I forgive and then do I accept the apology? But I want to make this clear. Forgiving other people, that really is about you. Because forgiveness, when you can forgive people, it frees you from the bondage, it frees you from the attachment, it frees you from the association, and it gives you the opportunity to decide whether or not you want to seek to restore the relationship. So forgiveness sets you free. The emphasis is on you. So if I'm going to forgive, the forgiveness is about me. It's more about me than it is about them. But just the opposite is true when it comes to apologizing. Don't make the apology about you. Sometimes people make excuses. I'm sorry, I just wasn't in my right mind. I'm sorry, I just wasn't thinking. I'm sorry, this has affected me just as much as it has affected you. That sort of thing. Apologizing is not about you, but apologizing is about them. Make it about them. Let's teach our children how to apologize. Sometimes people want to apologize, and in the middle of an apology, they'll make an excuse. I didn't know what I was doing. I was under the influence. I wasn't thinking right. I was under a lot of pressure. Have you ever heard people do that? They start apologizing, but then they give so many excuses for their behavior. Apologizing is not about you. Make it about them. I'm extending this apology because I hurt you. I'm extending this apology because I did some damage. I'm extending this apology because I brought harm somehow upon you, upon what concerns you, upon your family, upon you. Make the apology about them. All right? This is a hard lesson for us to sometimes learn. I wish that I could go back in time, now knowing what an apology is all about, because what I realized is that there were times when the only thing I opened my mouth and said was, I'm sorry. And I'm sorry does not always restore the relationship. I'm just telling you all the truth. That's a bitter pill to have to swallow. Sometimes just saying I'm sorry will not restore the relationship. You have to admit that you were wrong. You have to acknowledge that you hurt somebody. And you have to ask, what can I do to fix it? Otherwise, you've just offered lip service. So I want to ask you all this. Because I think perhaps you all are just in listening mode because you're thinking, wow, Cutler, I haven't ever heard you post a broadcast like that. And I'm not sure what's going on. But it's just a platform for us to evaluate what an apology looks like. So we have these two well-known figures. One is physically assaulted, allegedly. He's slapped. Let me just put it in those terms. Some people have criticized Will, saying, well, why didn't the apology come sooner? I think timing is a key factor. But I want to ask you all this. Do you think it's ever difficult? Do you find it difficult to apologize? Why don't people apologize? Why don't people apologize? Sometimes it's arrogance, sometimes it's ego, and sometimes it's self-aggrandizement, sometimes it's all of those things. I get that. But do you think it's difficult to apologize? You all please, chat with me and let me know if you think it's difficult to apologize. So good to see those of you who are coming in. We're talking about the fact that Will Smith apologized to Chris Rock. I find it difficult because I struggle with shame and guilt. Amy, I definitely understand. I definitely understand. And thank you so much for your candid response. I appreciate that. I invite the rest of you who are in the chat to respond to that question. Do you think it's ever difficult to apologize? Queen Nita, my friend, says people don't apologize because they don't want to admit they were wrong. Thank you all for sharing these responses. I just want to post these two. I want to post these two in the chat. And I want to encourage the rest of you. Why is it that we think people don't apologize? Is it difficult to apologize? And again, our friend Amy Klein says, I find it difficult because I struggle with shame and guilt. I get that, because a part of apologizing is admitting that you were wrong. And Amy, you're absolutely right. So many times we have to get over that threshold of coming to grips with what I did. So struggling with the shame and struggling with the guilt that I did something that was wrong. And I want to talk about that in just a moment, because I think that's a key factor when it comes to apologizing. So people who may be criticizing Will, saying, well, I think it was too late. I think it's too late. There are many times when people struggle with the shame and the guilt that an apology brings. And I suspect, I am not a public figure, but I can only imagine that the more publicity you have, the more scrutiny that you have, the more cameras that are on your life, the more you feel like you're under a microscope. You already feel like people are looking at you. You're probably dealing with a different level of shame and guilt, because all eyes are already on you on a normal daily occurrence. And so now, as a public figure, you didn't meet the mark. All right. So, Amy, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that. That may be the opinion of others. Let's see. Our friend Queen Nita says people don't apologize because they don't want to admit that they were wrong. I agree with you. I think that is the reason as well, my good friend, why some people don't apologize. They don't want to admit that they were wrong. For whatever reasons, they don't want to admit that they were wrong. So I'm just wondering how many of you just think it's difficult. Have you ever had difficulty apologizing? Let me put it that way. Have you ever had difficulty apologizing? You're probably wondering, well, I don't know. Cutler, what do you have to say about it? How would you answer that question? That is one question that I would answer with a yes or no. I'm not really so much into, I don't want to give, the hard black and white letter of the law kind of response. But in this case, when I said, the question, do you think it's ever difficult to apologize? I would have to say yes and no. Cutler, why would you say no? Why would you say no? I would say no because I think the desire to restore a relationship or to fix what might have been broken, I think that should compel us to apologize. The fact that I did something wrong and I want to fix it, I think that should compel us to want to apologize. So do I think it's difficult to apologize? In that case, I would say no. I want to right the wrong. I want to restore what I did. I want to undo the harm. I want to undo the damage. That should compel us to apologize. So from that vein, I'd say no, it's not difficult to apologize. However, just as quickly as I say no, I would dare say yes. Sometimes it is difficult to apologize. Why would I say that? I'd say that based on what our friends Amy and Queen Nita said in the chat this evening. There could be some degree of trepidation with coming face to face with your demons. Has to be some anxiety about coming to grips with the fact that you didn't meet the mark on your own barometer of morality, whatever that looks like to you. On this barometer of morality, I didn't meet the mark. There has to be some anxiety about realizing that I didn't meet the mark, the standard that I have on my own barometer of morality, wherever you get morality from. Or you have some trepidation about coming face to face with your demons. I keep doing this, and I seem to be out of control, and I keep going through this. Has to be some trepidation with that. Amy Klein says, my parents always made my mistakes feel like the end of the world, so I just get triggered when I mess up and want to avoid it altogether and get defensive. Not only you, my friend, but so many of us. Because this is not casting dispersions on our parents, on those who raised us, our mentors, our teachers, or anybody else. But I think what happened in our experiences was that we were not really taught how to apologize. We weren't taught about what an apology looks like, how it feels like, what that means, not only in our lives, but in the lives of other people. Because the apology is not about me. The apology is about them. I did harm to them that I need to correct. That's what an apology is about. So let me ask you all this question. You all know I'm only here for 1,800 seconds. I'm going to ask you this question, then I got to get out of here. Here's the question. Here is the question. Do you think that just because someone apologizes, you have to accept their apology? Oh, Cutler, you're going to get in trouble asking that question. I want to know. Do you think that just because someone apologizes that you have to accept their apology? I will say this. I will say this. And Amy, I thank you all. I'm reading Queen Nita. I'm reading your comments. Here is what I can say. It should bother us to have to apologize. It should bother us to have to apologize, but it should bother us more if we don't apologize. So somehow I have to find a balance between that. I have to tread that line carefully. It bothers me to have to apologize, but it bothers me more if I don't apologize. So let's go to the receiving end of that. And I got to get out of here. Do you think that just because someone apologizes that you have to accept their apology? What do you all think? Let's see. Someone says, true, my parents never apologized. They just asked me if I want to come get some food. Listen, I appreciate that because sometimes they didn't know how to apologize. You all know it's true. Within some cultures, some people just don't know how to apologize. Some people may never say, I love you. Their actions will say it. Some people will never say, I'm sorry, but their actions will say it. And Amy, perhaps your parents saying, hey, just come get some food. Maybe that's their way of apologizing. But should you have gone to get the food just because they offered it to you? So then, do you have to accept the apology? I'll toss that out there and I'll remind you, forgiveness is about you. Forgiveness gives you the ability to release the chains that hold you, the shackles that bind you. So forgiveness is about you. You do more for yourself when you forgive. I can't tell you that you should forgive or that you have to forgive, but I will say that forgiveness is about you. That's what frees you. They're coming to apologize. An apology should always be about the person that you hurt. But forgiveness, whether or not you receive it, it's up to you. All right. K Sharp says that the apology came from a place of self-reflection. And those of you who are just joining, if you didn't get a chance to see the clip that I showed, again, it's courtesy of ET Entertainment tonight online. So please go back and take a look at that. Some people are saying not all apologies come from a good place. Thank you, T. Cutler. K Sharp says the apology came from a place of self-reflection. Nope, it's up to that person if they choose to accept and when. Chris is probably still hurt. Those are all good assessments. Those are all good assessments. And again, I think one of our problems with apologies is that we wonder if there's sincerity. How much sincerity is there? Is there really genuineness? Is there sincerity? And remember this, remember this. The sincerity has to include a promise to learn from your mistake. You can't keep slapping me in the face on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then you come to me and you say, I apologize. Now you slap me Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. You apologize and then turn around and slap me again on Friday. Apologize and slap me again on Saturday. All right, listen, you haven't learned from your mistake. And I'm going to have some difficulty trying to accept your apology. Let me just say this. In this book, we don't always get it right the first time. How about we don't always get it right the second or the third time? I think I specified that there are some people that I just don't trust. I'm not saying that I don't trust Chris. I'm not saying that I don't trust Will or that Chris shouldn't trust Will. I'm just saying there's some people that I don't trust. And I'll tell you these three, and I got to get out of here. I don't trust people who brag about being nasty. I just don't. Let me just read these comments. K Sharp said apologies should come from a place of self-reflection. Absolutely. Question, doesn't forgiveness come from the person that was wronged? Absolutely. The forgiveness comes from the person who was wrong. And I'm saying who was wronged. And the person who was wronged has the ability to say, listen, it's going to be my choice whether or not I want to restore this relationship. You offend me and you come to me asking me to accept your apology. It's now up to me. Because remember, when you make the apology, you can't force the person to accept your apology. You just got to sit back and see what are they going to do with it. You cannot force people to accept your apology. You toss it out there and now it's up to them how they want to respond. All right. Annie Color says, I don't have a problem with apologizing, but I know that sometimes they did not accept it. Absolutely. Because I think when you apologize, you made it about them and you did your thing. Listen, I offended you and I'm sorry. That's right. You remember, thank you all for these comments. When you toss an apology out there, it's like tossing it over the fence. You've done your job. You've put it out there. I admit that I'm wrong. I admit that my wrong actions hurt you, and I want to do what I can to make it right. You've tossed that over the fence. It's up to them. You can't beat yourself up if they don't accept your apology. So let me just say this. Do not allow people to manipulate you once you apologize sincerely. Don't let people play mind games with you when you know that your apology came from a sincere space. You've done the right thing, but you're not in control of what they do with the apology. All right? If they don't accept it, it's up to them, but at least you've done the right thing. You've done the right thing. I don't trust people who brag about being nasty. I don't trust people who think it's a display of strength not to cry. And I don't trust people who never find it necessary to apologize. When was the last time you apologized? Listen, if you know you did somebody wrong, this channel is about inspiration, motivation, and challenging us to show up better tomorrow than we did today. This is a challenge. If you know that you've wronged somebody, old folk used to say, don't let the sun go down on your head. Pick up that phone, and don't even send a text message. Pick up the phone, go see them if you can, and apologize. That's how we show up better tomorrow than we did today. When you know you did someone wrong, y'all come on here. I'm just trying to help save somebody's life. Go and apologize. You'll feel better, and you never know, they might too. Listen, thank you all for spending this time with me. Do me a favor. Let's keep building community. Let's keep maintaining connectivity. Keep your heads up. Keep your hopes up. Stay safe. Stay sane, and please know this, that from my heart to yours, there is and always will be so much love. I'll see you all the next time. Amy Klein, thank you for this message. I needed it. Amy, guess what? I needed it too. Tell somebody, come on, let's talk the color. I'll see you all next go round. Bye.